Well, we have a bit of a powder keg forming this week as we're looking at not just severe weather today, Sunday. Hope you're having a great weekend, guys, by the way. But we're also looking at severe weather heading into Monday, also Tuesday, and areas further east will be dealing with this, unfortunately. Listen, guys, I've been doing this for years. This is something that I don't like to see. So it's not a good situation, not just today, but also over the next couple of days, as I said, as this cold air aloft kicks off to the east. Today, we're looking at the Plains states. We'll dive into what the Storm Prediction Center is looking at, but that's because we have a lot of cold air aloft. Those lapse rates are going to steepen. We're also pushing a lot of dry air out of the desert, so a dry line forming across this area. You can kind of see that here. Check this out on the precipitable water look. There comes that dry air out of the desert southwest, and that dry line setting up across Oklahoma and Kansas as we head into this afternoon and this evening. Also, a lot of instability in this area, too, with temperatures soaring today. We have all the ingredients coming together, also with a lot of wind shear with our upper low or this trough negatively tilted. So definitely looking rough. Heading into tomorrow, that threat shifts a little bit further to the east. We're talking about now into Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, and also maybe even into Arkansas. And then further down the line, heading into Tuesday, this could be pushing into the south. Areas that just saw the severe weather could be seeing more as all of this pushes to the east. Let's break it down on the maps here. First, let's look at the Storm Prediction Center's outlook for day one. This is today through late tonight into early Monday morning. Most of this will be in the afternoon and evening hours. Kansas now, this is a moderate risk, or I should say, so we're looking at a 4 out of 5 here across northern parts of Oklahoma, also central parts of Kansas. This has been upgraded. This is new. So if you're joining the live stream, this is updated since last night, just over the last hour or so. And also we've seen this bump up a little bit too. We've ticked this area up across parts of Mississippi, Arkansas, also into Georgia now in a slight risk. That's a 2 out of 5. Certainly not what we're looking at back here across the west with this widespread risk. Tornado risk on the table too. We've got this hatched area from central Kansas down into Oklahoma. It doesn't mean it's a zero threat down into Texas, and this is also spreading further east. So we've got a frontal boundary laid like this kind of. It's going to be meandering over the next couple of days. Eventually it will start to lift north as a warm front as our low kicks out of the west, and that warm air starts to advect north. With that in the warm sector, and especially along this front, you're going to get a lot of twisting of air. So that wind shear will be increased, so the tornado threat is there. And again, we talked about that risk draped further to the east as our front just stagnates and stalls out here. Tomorrow, that risk moves to the east. This could change, by the way. This might be upgraded. It's still early in the game. We'll see how these models evolve later today. I'll come back with an update tonight for you. So if you're new to the channel, I'm Travis. Welcome. I hope you'll come back and subscribe. If you're an OG, I say this all the time. Thanks for coming over and watching. So I do plan on doing another update later today, and we look at some of these short-range models. But the risk is on now from, again, East Kansas all the way down to North Texas, and then further to the east into Arkansas as these storms get fired up heading into Monday afternoon. Tornado risk. You do have a significant area that's been hatched out, again, from Missouri, these same areas down into North Texas. So not just a damaging wind threat, not just a large hail threat, and it could be pretty big too, but we're also looking at a lot of wind shear, so tornadoes possible again on Monday. We're starting the week off, I'm telling you guys, with it's to how strong this gets, but we're looking now at Mississippi, specifically North Mississippi, northern Alabama, and into central and west Tennessee. This is a little bit further south, right, than what we saw last time. It was more concentrated up in here. So now we're looking at, again, middle Tennessee, west Tennessee, down into Alabama. It's still a little bit early to dig into these details. The short-range models, even the 3K NAM, isn't really showing this yet. It's still just a little bit too early, but the Storm Prediction Center thinking, look, it's worth hatching this out, showing that this is a significant risk area to watch. Let's look at the future radar, and we'll time these storms out. We've got ongoing storms through the morning hours and the midday hours across parts of Arkansas, northern Arkansas into southern Missouri. And then once we head into the afternoon, we really start to see things explode here across the plains, especially out ahead of this area of low pressure from Kansas into Oklahoma. And then these storms will fire along your front into Arkansas. Some of these could really produce some heavy rain into the afternoon. And then the storms really get going heading to the evening and into tonight across Kansas, also north into Nebraska, and some really heavy rain possible as this lifts to the north. I'm going to let this play out in time. We're going to zoom in on the storms just a little bit closer in a second because I do want to show you how things evolve heading into tomorrow. A lot of rain, even snow mixing into the western parts of the Dakotas. Cold air on the western side of this. We've had snow into the Rockies. That will continue through today, tonight, and then eventually it again moves into the Dakotas. But look at this showing up on Monday, especially in the Monday evening. It could be a bumpy ride with multiple storms firing up in this warm sector. And as your front lays like this now, along that frontal boundary, especially as these storms lift north, you've got to watch those for tornadoes. Plus, as we move into the evening hours, these will likely start to form into what we call Boeing line segments. So with that, you're looking at more of a damaging wind threat, but there could certainly be tornadoes within that. You saw that hatched area. That's where the storms are going to be. Now we're moving into Tuesday. Now, this will be the end of the 3K NAM's extent. This is as far as it can see out, but you can see how things are starting to unfold in this area for severe weather. A lot of rain, too, lifting north. So if you're watching and you're not in the area where you're going to see severe weather, a soaking rain as we see good lifting here into the atmosphere and a lot of, I don't know if you want to call it stratiform rain, but yeah, it's not going to be the convective type thunderstorms. All right, a closer look at the southern plains here. This is actually the HRRR. This is usually looking a little aggressive, but boy, look at things popping as we head toward the 7 p.m. hour. I know it says 8. This is Eastern time if you're watching, by the way. So explosive storms developing across Kansas. Also, I think you watch even into Oklahoma, and some of these with all of this wind shear, again, tornado risk on the table today in these areas. Let's keep pushing this out in time. Now, as we head into tonight, these storms march east, now into East Oklahoma, into Missouri. They will be weakening through the overnight hours, but heading into tomorrow, check this out. The HRRR just as explosive, if not maybe more than the NAM across central Nebraska, Kansas, Texas. This is a supercell look. You get that going. You could have tornadoes going. Also strong damaging winds. And look how they cluster up as we head into the evening hours. You get the straight line damaging wind threat. And then this definitely pushes off to the east. Now, again, the main threat, if you're watching, this would be Monday and then into Tuesday, further to the south. So certainly up into Indiana, Illinois, a risk is there. I know we've been concentrating on the south, but there is a risk of strong storms up in here. Certainly not a zero risk as we head into Tuesday, I would say early morning Tuesday. That's the thing. These will be moving through this area during the early morning hours. Once we get into the afternoon, though, southern Indiana, southern Illinois, northern Kentucky, I think you got to watch these too. And then, of course, we're talking about Mississippi, Alabama, and into Tennessee as we head into the evening hours. All right, let's go further east, and we'll widen things out. This is the European. It's not going to show that convective nature of those thunderstorms as much, but you can get an idea of where things are going after this. Timestamp is above my head. Now we're heading into Tuesday. Of note, this area of low pressure that's moving toward the Great Lakes is actually weakening. If there was a silver lining in all of this, I would tell you it's that we are seeing this area of low pressure not deepen. It's not like an early spring storm. It's not like one of those mid-latitude cyclones that just has a lot of support that just starts to deepen, and then it occludes, and you get this massive amount of severe weather ahead of it. That's the good news. And I think that's one of the reasons your storms are more across the south too, because your highest dynamics, your jet streak on Tuesday would be here. So that's why the severe weather risk is a little bit further south than it is north this time. Again, it's also that low weakening. It's going above 1,000 millibars as it approaches Wednesday. So I guess some good news there. Rain moving into the Great Lakes. This isn't severe at this point. It's cold and damp. And in fact, as we move into Thursday, this is some chilly air pulling in behind this area of low pressure. So numbers will be on the way down temperature-wise. And then as we head into, I guess, the weekend, I'm telling you what, we're looking cool. We're looking damp across the Northeast. Temperatures on the way down. As this area of low pressure wraps up across the East Coast, it's tough to see, but some of the models are picking up on some snow into the higher elevations of the Northeast, and then temperatures will be on the way down. I'll show you those long-range temperatures in just a second because I do want to take a look at that as we're looking long-range and across the West. Let's look at the snow that's flying here because this is heavy snow falling today into the Rockies, piling up in the order of feet in some areas as it wraps up. Finally, it's going to start to warm up too across the West. Still staying wet across the Pacific Northwest, but getting hot in the deserts as we start to see in the upper levels. You can kind of see it here. Some ridging starting to build north. Temperatures on the way up, and it looks a lot drier. a really wide look. Let's take you far long range now, and we'll take you not just through the first of the week. And by the way, if you're just joining and you're wondering about the severe weather, you might have missed it here in the video. You can back it up and take it from the beginning. And of course, if you've missed these videos anytime, you can always catch them on playback. I try to do them in a way where we just roll on and we don't linger and talk about all the live things right now. It's just so that you can just catch a quick look at the weather. Let's take this again through the week. Tuesday, there goes the rain into the east. Look at the snow flying into the Dakotas. I mean, it's cold up here, and this pattern is chilly. And I'll show you in just a moment what we're talking about with this northwest flow kicking in. So temperatures will be below average as we approach the Memorial Day weekend. We are drying out across the plains, at least the northern plains, but return flow starts to increase moisture from the Dakotas down into Oklahoma. So we're looking at showers here as this warm front lifts north. And then by Thursday and Friday, northwest flow aloft, keeping things kind of unsettled. Also cooler than average. And then I don't know. I'm just going to tell you, now that you're dealing with this ridge building here, are we looking at a situation where we get these convective thunderstorms that dive in from the northwest? I don't know that this is quite the setup. It doesn't really look that way, but we're approaching that time of year where we get those big mesoscale convective complexes that dive in from the northwest that we see sometimes that go up and over our ridge. I don't know that the ridge is really that strong, but something to watch. And then heading into the early next week, just past Memorial Day, I mean, it looks kind of wet and soggy as we stay unsettled. Here's your temperatures, if you're wondering. These are departures from average. Warm today and over the next couple of days across the south, but look what happens. We are changing. Definitely colder than average across the northern plains and the central U.S. That cooler than average weather is pushing into the southeast. Look at this. Numbers on the way down. A good 10, 15 degrees below average possible from the northeast all the way back into the Ohio Valley and also into the Great Lakes and the upper Midwest. Boy, it could be really chilly as we head out into the weekend. By Friday, temperature departures could be close to 20 degrees below average here in the northeast with a lot of clouds, showery conditions. Across the west, temperatures warming up above average, and sort of the battleground area here across the central U.S., where temperatures are actually starting to go way above average across the Front Range into the high plains and into west, where really pretty much all of Texas too. And heading into Sunday and Monday, the pattern to me looks cool in the east, warm in the west. Right, that's a quick look. If you're just joining, you can take things back from the beginning and watch it. Appreciate you guys watching. If you're brand new to the channel, I'm Travis. I used to do meteorology. I was a weather forecaster on TV for years. I was a chief meteorologist on TV before I got out of that business, but been out of the business for quite a while now, almost 6 years. But been doing this YouTube video thing for about a year now. So if you've been here for about a year, you've been subscribed, thank you so much for doing so. If you're looking for a weather source, I hope you'll consider coming back. All right, that's all I got. A little bit long today, but hope that long range helps and hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you hopefully later today with an update on this severe weather as we're looking at today, tomorrow, and Tuesday. See ya.